Something strange was happening around Lil Wayne, and for weeks, nobody could explain it. First, there were the photos. A young woman, only 23, showing up backstage at his shows. Then a selfie posted online, tagged with nothing but 3 white hearts. No name. No explanation. Just hearts. Then came the bigger bombshell. A famous sports commentator, a man known for stirring up debates on live TV, posted a picture of himself standing next to Lil Wayne and this same woman. Fans zoomed in. Fans screenshotted it. Fans asked the same question over and over: who is she, and why does it look like she is about to become part of his family? Her name started spreading everywhere. Maddie. Some called her Maddie K. Others called her Maddie Cannon. She was a social media influencer, 23 years old, from Indiana. And somehow, by the time spring turned into summer, whispers had grown into something louder. People were saying Lil Wayne, one of the biggest names in hip-hop, 43 years old, was engaged. Nobody had a statement. Nobody had a ring photo. But the internet does not wait for confirmation. It builds its own story out of glances, and once it starts, it does not stop. What made this rumor stick harder than most was the timing. This was not the first time people had watched his love life unravel in public. Long before this influencer ever showed up in a photo, there was another relationship, one that had lasted on and off for years, filled with breakups and reunions that fans had already watched play out more than once. That relationship ended in a way that left a lot of bitterness behind it, with accusations flying in both directions and neither side staying quiet about it. So when a brand new face appeared, 20 years younger, fans did not see a fresh start. They saw a pattern. A powerful, famous man moving from one headline-making relationship straight into another, with barely a pause in between. That backdrop is exactly why this new rumor spread so fast. People were not just curious about a stranger showing up backstage. They were comparing it to everything that came before, wondering if history was repeating itself, wondering if this would end the same messy way the last one did. And then, right when the gossip was at its peak, something else happened. Something that made people forget about rings and start asking a completely different question. Lil Wayne kicked off a huge tour. 20 years of his most iconic music, a celebration built around his legacy, his career, the songs that made him a legend. Fans bought tickets months in advance. They traveled. They lined up outside a venue in Maine, ready for the opening night of a tour that was supposed to be a victory lap. Another rapper opened the show. The crowd was hyped. The energy was building toward one moment, Lil Wayne walking out on that stage. Except he never did. 11 o'clock came. Then it passed. And instead of Lil Wayne walking out, someone else walked out and told the entire crowd to go home. The performance was scheduled to begin around 11:15, and at 11, the audience was told he would not be performing at all. Picture that for a second. Thousands of people, tickets in hand, phones ready to record the moment, and instead they got silence. No explanation. No apology on stage. Just an announcement telling them the night was over before it even started. Naturally, people were furious. And naturally, people were suspicious. Because this was not just any missed show. This was the very first show of the tour. The one meant to set the tone for everything that came after. And it happened at the exact same time all these engagement rumors were swirling.
I would like to clear something up. No, I'm not engaged. A beautiful thing going with an amazing person.
Coincidence? Fans did not think so. Some assumed there was drama behind the scenes. Some assumed health problems. Some assumed he simply did not care enough to show up. The theories multiplied faster than anyone could keep track of. For days, Lil Wayne said nothing. No video. No post. No comment. Just silence while the internet filled in the blanks for him. Then, on a quiet Sunday, everything changed. He picked up his phone, sat down with a guitar, and pressed record. What came out over the next several minutes answered almost every single question fans had been asking. And it also raised a few new ones. He started with the missed show. He told fans directly that he needed to apologize, and he meant it. Then he revealed something most casual fans did not know about him. He said he lives with epilepsy and has a history of seizures, though he added that it had thankfully been years since his last one. But here is the twist: seizures do not just appear out of nowhere. They are triggered. And for him, one of the biggest triggers is a severe migraine. That night in Maine, he said, one of those migraines hit him hard. He was told it would not be safe for him to fly. Now, most people would stop there. Health scare, doctor's orders, end of story. But he did not stop there. He said. He actually tried to get on the plane anyway. He wanted to make it. He wanted to be on that stage for his fans. But then a second problem showed up, one that had nothing to do with his health at all. According to him, weather and airport restrictions caused the plane to circle without being able to land. He described it as the pilot being unable to land where and when he wanted to, because of restrictions at the airport, forcing the plane to circle instead. So picture it. A migraine bad enough to raise seizure risk. A doctor's warning against flying. An attempt to fly anyway. And then a plane stuck circling in the sky, unable to land, while thousands of fans stood in a crowd wondering where he was. Think about how strange that image really is. A man with a documented seizure history, warned by professionals to stay grounded, choosing instead to board a plane anyway because he did not want to let his fans down. Then, almost like fate was piling on, the weather and the airport itself refused to cooperate, leaving the plane going in circles above a city that was already waiting for him below. It sounds almost too dramatic to be real. But that is exactly the story he told. He did not stop at an apology either. He made a promise. He told fans in Maine that he would be back, on a specific date later in the summer, to finally give them the show they were promised. And he told them something else too, something personal. If any of them were still standing there waiting when he eventually landed that night, he said he loved them, their families, even their pets. It was over the top. It was emotional. It was very much him. But the video was not finished. Because after handling the professional side of the scandal, he turned to the personal side. And this is where things got even more interesting. He said he wanted to clear something up, something he almost never talks about publicly. His relationship status. And in one sentence, he shut down months of speculation. No, he said, he was not engaged. Not even close. But then he did something unexpected. Instead of denying the relationship entirely, he confirmed it existed. He described having something beautiful with an amazing person, someone he clearly still respected. So it was real. The connection was real. The affection was real. What was not real, according to him, was any wedding plan. Then came the reason for the breakup, and this is the part that really made people stop scrolling. He did not blame her. He did not blame himself in the way people usually blame themselves after a split. Instead, he pointed to something bigger. The attention. The internet. The constant judgment strangers throw at a couple once their photos start spreading online. He explained that because of how intense the criticism had become, he did not want to keep being a burden on someone he cared about. So, in his words, they made the decision to separate. Think about that phrase for a second. A burden. Not because of an argument. Not because of betrayal. Because the relationship existed under a microscope, and the microscope became too much to carry. A 20-year age gap, constant online commentary, strangers debating a private relationship as if it were a public trial. And according to him, that pressure is part of why it ended. It is worth pausing here, because this is the part of the story that goes beyond typical celebrity gossip. This was not a scandal about cheating. It was not a scandal about lies. It was almost the opposite. Two people who seemed to genuinely enjoy each other, pulled apart by an audience that never even knew them personally. Once the video went public, reactions split into two camps almost instantly. One camp felt sympathy. They saw a man being honest about a health condition he rarely discusses, honest about a broken plan to reach his fans, and honest about walking away from someone he cared about to protect her from public noise. To this camp, it felt like a rare moment of vulnerability from someone who usually keeps his personal life locked away. The other camp was not so forgiving. Because right after the so-called cancelled show, word got out that he had still made an appearance the very next day at a massive celebrity party. Fans who had been told he was too unwell to fly were suddenly seeing pictures of him socializing barely 24 hours later. And then, just a couple of days after that, at another tour stop, reports surfaced that he walked on stage 2 hours later than scheduled. To skeptics, this timeline raised an eyebrow. A cancelled show blamed on medical risk, followed almost immediately by public appearances and more delays. It fed right into an old reputation that has followed him for years, a reputation for unpredictable no-shows and last-minute changes. This was not the first cancelled performance of his career, and longtime fans know that history well. Rewind a couple of years, and you will find a packed venue in Canada, fans standing shoulder to shoulder, only to be told the show was off after they had already walked through the doors. Rewind again, and there is a major festival where he simply never appeared, no explanation offered on the spot, just an empty slot on the lineup where his name used to be. And before that, a night in Los Angeles where he did make it on stage, only to walk right back off in the middle of the set because he felt the crowd was not giving him enough energy back. Full arenas left waiting before, tours interrupted before, walk-offs mid-performance before. So while his explanation this time was detailed and medical, some fans could not help comparing it to a pattern they had already seen play out again and again. And that is the strange part about this entire situation. Every explanation he gave made sense on its own. The epilepsy is real and well documented over the years. Migraines triggering seizure risk is a legitimate medical reality. Planes get grounded by weather and airport restrictions all the time. Relationships